Perhaps you've experienced that uncomfortable feeling of entering a room and realizing, almost unintentionally, that no one really noticed your presence. It's not that people are hostile, they just didn't react. And, silently, that unsettling thought arises. Do I go unnoticed because something is missing in me? The truth is, many people feel this way, but few admit it. And even fewer discover that the problem isn't in what they say, but in what they convey without words. There are people who arrive at a place and, without making a sound, command respect. They don't need long conversations, self-promotion, or catchy phrases. They simply exist, and that's enough for the atmosphere to organize itself around them. This kind of power isn't an innate gift, nor mystical charisma. It's built. And what makes it so strong is precisely what no one teaches, the silent code that transforms insecurity into presence. What you'll discover here isn't about faking confidence or becoming a performed version of yourself. It's the opposite. It's about learning to adjust your posture, gaze, walk, expression, and silence in a way that makes people perceive something in you that perhaps even you haven't noticed yet. Inner strength. Not the strength that shouts, but the strength that doesn't need to shout. If you're tired of trying to be seen by talking more, explaining yourself more, trying harder, perhaps it's time to do the opposite. Be seen without saying anything. The way you enter a room says more about you than any formal introduction. A firm posture, without excessive rigidity, conveys presence even before a word is spoken. When your body is upright, your shoulders open, and your chin aligned, something curious happens. It's not just the world that perceives you differently. Your own mind responds with greater self-control. Insecurity tends to tighten the body, shrink gestures, and demand permission from the space. But when you occupy that space naturally, the message is simple: I exist, and I'm not hiding. It's not about faking strength, but about allowing your body to remind your mind who's in charge. Try observing your body during moments when you feel less confident. Do you cross your arms? Squint your neck? Look down? These small actions reveal more insecurity than you imagine, even if no one says anything. Posture is like a faithful mirror of what happens internally, but it can also be a tool for change. By adjusting your body position, even when there is fear, you send a silent signal that you are in control. It's the same principle used by athletes, speakers, and leaders. Before acting, they align their bodies to align their spirits. The exterior educates the interior. If you want to practice this, try a simple exercise. Every time you enter a new environment, take a deep breath, straighten your spine, relax your jaw, and walk slowly. It's not about appearing superior, it's just about preventing insecurity from taking the wheel. Do this in lines, in elevators, when arriving at meetings, or even when delivering a package to the reception. The more your body gets used to occupying the space, the less your mind believes it needs to shrink. Posture becomes a silent discourse, a light but powerful armor that precedes speech and reinforces who you choose to be. Eye contact is one of the most revealing signs of security or insecurity, even if no one openly comments on it. When we look away too quickly, the body is trying to escape a possible evaluation or rejection. It's almost instinctive. Those who fear being seen hide in the silence of their eyes. But when the gaze is firm, without being invasive, it conveys presence, interest, and self-control. It's not about facing it as a challenge, but about sustaining the moment without running away from it. Eye contact is a form of communication that dispenses with words, but exposes intentions, boundaries, and confidence. A balanced gaze doesn't need to be constant, just conscious. You don't need to maintain eye contact all the time, but rather choose not to avoid it. It is in this choice that confidence is born. Try, for example, holding someone's gaze for a second longer than usual before looking away. It seems simple, but it's a powerful exercise against inner insecurity. People who master eye contact aren't trying to intimidate, they're just not trying to disappear. And those who don't disappear naturally inspire respect, even in silence. Its presence in its rawest form, to look, to be seen, and to remain there. There's a big difference between looking at and looking through. Those who use eye contact hastily always seem afraid of being discovered. Those who do it calmly communicate that they have nothing to hide. If you want to practice this, start with small interactions. When greeting someone, hold their gaze while saying good morning. When answering questions, look them in the eye before formulating your sentence. It's not a social trick, it's internal reconstruction. You don't need to prove strength. Just show that you are fully present in the moment. When eye contact becomes part of your posture, insecurity ceases to control the invisible dialogues that happen before words. The way you walk reveals more about your inner state than you might imagine. Hurried steps, tense shoulders, and looking at the ground betray haste, escape, or disconnection from oneself. Classic signs of insecurity. A firm, rhythmic walk, without artificial haste, conveys direction, even when life still seems confusing inside. The body speaks before words, and walking is one of the most sincere discourses it makes. How we occupy the path tells the world, and ourselves, whether we are trying to arrive or simply escape. Each step can reinforce presence or deepen absence. Many people believe that confidence is born in the mind first, but sometimes it's the body that needs to teach the mind to feel secure. Walking with self-control doesn't mean showing off or feigning superiority. It's simply aligning rhythm with intention. One step at a time without unnecessary rushing is enough to dissolve the feeling of being behind in life. And when someone walks with bodily clarity, even the environment seems to respect that space. It's as if walking were a signature. Everyone has their own, but few choose to perfect it. Those who do change how the world perceives them, and more importantly, how they perceive themselves. If you want to practice, transform the act of walking into a mindfulness exercise. When you're going somewhere, slow down slightly, raise your chin, steady your step, feel the ground. Make walking a moving meditation, where insecurity neither runs ahead nor pushes from behind. When you realize you're walking unnecessarily fast, ask yourself, am I rushing or being driven by anxiety? Gradually, your body learns that it doesn't need to run away from anything. It can simply move forward. And when walking becomes conscious, the rest of your posture, your gaze, and even your expression begin to follow the same direction. Many people fear silence because they believe it exposes weakness, as if talking nonstop were proof of security. But, in fact, it's the opposite. Those who master silence demonstrate emotional self-control. When you don't rush to fill every pause with words, you convey presence and confidence, like someone who doesn't need to compete for space to exist. Silence, used intentionally, is not absence, it's affirmation. It allows you to observe before reacting, to think before responding, to choose before explaining. And this pause, so simple, is worth more than hurried speeches born of insecurity. Observe truly confident people in social or professional settings. They speak less than you might imagine. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they don't feel obligated to prove anything. The silence there isn't withdrawal, but a subtle boundary. It says, I don't chase approval. When words are born from silence, they come out clearer, firmer, more respected. Insecurity needs to fill every second to avoid being questioned. Confidence breathes, pauses, waits, responds. It's almost an invisible code that the body understands before the mind. And this changes the energy of the entire environment. Want to practice this in real life? Start by practicing small pauses before answering questions. Instead of answering immediately, take a breath, pause for 2 seconds, and only then speak. At first, it feels strange. Insecurity will scream, demanding to fill the void. But if you sustain it, you realize that no one dies in silence. On the contrary, it increases your standing. And over time, you understand that silence is not a lack of expression, but part of it. It's proof that you don't need to rush to exist. And when silence becomes an ally, insecurity finally loses its dominant voice. The face is the first betrayer of emotions, especially when insecurity takes over. Before reason can formulate any response, the expression has already revealed discomfort, irritation, or fear. Therefore, learning to control your facial expression is not deceit, it's self-control. It's not about freezing your face or appearing impassive all the time, but about softening what is an automatic reaction. Whoever controls their expression controls the impact the environment will have on them. And the more you observe your face in the small tensions of the day, the more you understand how the mind reveals itself unintentionally. Pay attention to how your face reacts to criticism, delays, demands, or even minor social disagreements. Your eyebrows raise, your jaw clenches, your gaze averts, your lips tighten. Each micro-expression is an invisible signal of how your insecurity tries to protect itself. But the good news is, expression is a habit, and habits can be trained. A simple technique is to breathe before reacting physically. Breathing slows down the body, and the body teaches the face not to explode. When your expression remains calm in a tense moment, you change the dynamics of the situation, and that is silent power. If you want to practice this in a practical way, do the following. In your next conversations, observe your expression when you hear something you don't like. Don't respond immediately, just notice your face. If it tenses, relax your jaw muscles, uncross your forehead, and maintain a firm, neutral gaze. This attitude, repeated intentionally, transforms your external and internal presence. The world respects those who don't emotionally crumble at every stimulus. And the more you master your expression, the less insecurity finds openings to manifest itself. After all, the face is the showcase of the mind, and you can choose what you expose. Before anyone hears your voice, your clothing has already spoken for you. More than just aesthetics, it's an extension of your posture, your gaze, and even the way you walk. Insecure people oscillate between two extremes: total carelessness or exaggerated concern with their appearance. Both are attempts at protection, either fading into the background to avoid being noticed or adorning oneself to avoid being questioned. When you dress intentionally, without ostentation, you convey self-respect before any words. Dressing well isn't a luxury, it's presence. And presence, when aligned with self-control, is worth more than any expensive label. Have you ever noticed how, on days when we feel insecure, we tend to choose clothes that hide, not clothes that represent? This happens because insecurity tries to convince us that we are less than we should be. But dressing carefully isn't vanity, it's emotional discipline. Just like silence and posture, clothing is a way of communicating boundaries. I respect myself and expect to be respected. When someone notices that you take care of yourself, they understand that your energy is not for sale. Clothing, then, doesn't become a mask, but an ally. It works with you, not against you. If you want to start applying this, you don't need to change your entire wardrobe. Just choose clothes that convey clarity, not confusion. Ask yourself when getting dressed, does this piece represent how I want to be perceived or how I want to hide? Replace "it doesn't matter" with intention. Adjust, care for, and select, not to please others, but to align your appearance with your presence. Those who dress consciously don't need to justify themselves verbally. They already arrive with a silent message. The respect that comes before the conversation is earned effortlessly, simply through consistency. And when the exterior doesn't contradict the interior, insecurity gives way to tranquil confidence. Many people confuse impassivity with coldness, but they are completely different things. Coldness pushes people away because it freezes affection. Impassivity attracts because it protects the essence. The person who masters this art is not someone who doesn't feel, but someone who doesn't let themselves be governed by emotions, especially when insecurity tries to take control. When you breathe before reacting, observe before responding, and choose before exploding, you are training the invisible muscle of emotional maturity. Insecurity acts as a trigger. Calmness chooses to be a controlled flame. And it is in this difference that true strength is revealed. Have you ever regretted something you said in the heat of the moment? Almost always, this impulse stems from a lack of internal boundaries between feeling and acting. Impassivity creates this pause, the interval where you decide who is in control, you or the emotion. Stoic philosophy called this self-control, and not by chance, considered this skill more valuable than any external talent. Those who explode without a filter become hostages of their environment. Those who remain stable, even under pressure, inspire natural confidence. They don't need to prove their presence. It simply imposes itself through the serene control of their own inner world. If you want to practice this, Start with small situations. Traffic delays, harsh opinions, unanswered silence. Instead of reacting on impulse, mentally count to 3 before acting. It seems like a small thing, but this voluntary delay breaks the cycle of automatic reaction. And with each repetition, your mind learns that it doesn't need to defend itself all the time. Impassivity is not the absence of emotion. It's emotional wisdom. It's choosing not to dissolve in response to any external stimulus. And when you master this art, you realize that true strength lies not in speaking loudly, but in not losing your own direction because of someone else's chaos. One of the most silent forms of insecurity is the fear of saying no. Sometimes it seems like kindness, but deep down it's a fear of displeasing, of losing affection or approval. When you accept everything to avoid conflict, you transmit to the world that your limits are flexible, and people without limits become a free territory. Establishing limits is not about distancing yourself. It's about protecting your own energy. Those who say, "This I accept," that I don't show that they know where they end. And this clarity in itself inspires respect, even if the other person disagrees. Setting limits is a silent but powerful stance. Think about situations where you felt used, overwhelmed, or emotionally exhausted. Almost always, the problem wasn't the other person. It was the absence of clear boundaries. Insecurity tries to convince us that it's better to give in than to be seen as difficult. But the truth is, nobody respects someone who gives in all the time. Saying no firmly is as important as saying yes truthfully. Security is born when your actions cease to depend on external approval. And when boundaries are clear, even conflicts become lighter, because there's no room for invisible emotional negotiation. If you want to practice this, start by saying a simple no every day. It doesn't have to be rude, just direct, "I can't today. This doesn't work for me. I'd rather not participate." At first, insecurity will try to justify, over-explain, downplay, but the boundary loses its power when it comes with excuses. Over time, you realize that those who respect you don't need long explanations. And those who distance themselves because you finally took a stand were never truly on your side. Boundaries don't push people away, they filter. And this filter is one of the greatest shields of silent self-control anyone can build. Presence is the exact opposite of insecurity, because insecurity only exists when the mind isn't trying to escape to the past or the future. When someone is truly present, whole, without the rush to prove anything, they transmit a silent magnetism that doesn't depend on appearance, speech, or status. Presence is absolute attention. It's listening without thinking about the response. It's breathing before reacting. It's occupying the moment consciously. Those who are present don't need to be expansive or charismatic. They simply need to be, and the atmosphere feels it. Internal absence always tries to compensate with words. Presence dissolves the need for justification. Notice how the most remarkable people aren't necessarily the loudest, but the most complete. They look, walk, speak, and even remain silent with intention. Their bodies don't rush. Their gaze doesn't wander. Their expressions don't try to please. Their posture doesn't ask permission. It's not arrogance, it's self-control. Insecurity tries to fill the space with effort. Presence fills it naturally. And that changes everything. It changes how you enter a room, how you are perceived, and even how your own nervous system responds to the world. When you are present, the mind stops trying to survive and begins to exist. If you want to practice presence, start in small situations while eating, walking, listening to someone. Instead of acting on autopilot, bring awareness to the moment. How is your body? What are your thoughts telling you? Are you living in the moment or protecting yourself from it? Presence eliminates the need to be worth something in the eyes of others, because the now doesn't demand performance, only existence. When you are where your body is, your boundaries are strengthened, your posture becomes firmer, your gaze becomes calmer, your walk gains direction, and, effortlessly, insecurity loses one of its greatest hiding places: distraction. Now that you've gone through each point of this video, you may have noticed something important. Nothing here depends on special talent, social status, or an extroverted personality. Everything that transforms insecurity into quiet respect begins with small actions, repeated with intention, Posture, gaze, walk, silence, expression, boundaries, presence. The question now is simple. Will you continue to be driven by insecurity, or will you begin to drive your own presence? Do a quick exercise. In which of these points did you most recognize yourself? Where did you realize you still give too much space? And most importantly, what will be the first adjustment you put into practice today? Not tomorrow, not when you have time. Change begins when you act, not when you understand. Reflection opens the door, but it is action that gets through. If this video has sparked something in you, be it discomfort, motivation, or clarity, then an internal movement is already happening. And this is the kind of movement that cannot stop. Therefore, if you want to continue evolving, deepening this silent force that doesn't ask for approval but inspires respect, the next step is simple. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. This way you receive the next content before everyone else and continue perfecting what nobody teaches, but everyone notices.